Throughout history, inventions like the light bulb and the internet have revolutionized our daily lives. However, behind these celebrated breakthroughs lie hidden gems, groundbreaking technologies that never had the chance to shine. Silenced by corporate greed, buried under government secrecy, and dismissed by the skepticism of mainstream science, these innovations were pushed into the dark, never to realize their full potential. Join us as we unveil 10 suppressed inventions that could have radically transformed the world we live in. Number 10. The Ogle Carburetor. Tom Ogle, a self-taught mechanic from El Paso, Texas, made headlines in the 1970s with an invention that seemed almost too good to be true. His creation, the Ogle Carburetor, promised to drastically improve fuel efficiency during a time when the oil crisis had the world desperately searching for solutions. This innovative device claimed to power a car for over 100 miles on just a single gallon of gasoline, a claim that turned heads and raised hopes. Ogle's approach to the conventional carburetor was nothing short of revolutionary. Unlike traditional systems that mixed air and fuel before combustion, Ogle's design eliminated the carburetor and fuel pump altogether. Instead, he introduced a black box that vaporized the fuel before it entered the engine. This method meant that the fuel burned more completely, significantly reducing the amount of gasoline needed to run the engine. The implications of Ogle's invention were staggering. Not only could this mean huge savings for consumers tired of high gas prices, but it also suggested a potential decrease in oil dependence and a step forward in reducing vehicle emissions. In 1977, Ogle showcased his modified 1970 Ford Galaxy, which demonstrated this remarkable fuel efficiency. The media frenzy that followed catapulted him into the spotlight. He secured patents and attracted interest from investors and big corporations, all keen on the potential transformation in fuel consumption his invention could bring. Despite the growing interest, the automotive world was skeptical. Experts questioned how Ogle's carburetor could achieve such efficiency without significant engine modifications. Yet, Ogle was undeterred. He believed in his invention's potential and turned down lucrative offers to purchase his patents, aiming instead for broader implementation. However, Tom Ogle's promising journey was abruptly halted. In 1981, at the young age of 24, Ogle passed away under mysterious circumstances. Officially, his death was attributed to an overdose involving alcohol and prescription drugs, but his friends and supporters suspected foul play. The timing and nature of his demise, considering the vast financial stakes involved, fueled conspiracy theories. Some speculated that the oil industry, seeing Ogle's invention as a direct threat to their profits, might have had a hand in silencing him. Others suggested that auto manufacturers were behind it, fearing the impact his technology could have on their existing business models. Following his death, the Ogle carburetor quickly faded from public memory. The patents still exist, yet no major car manufacturer has implemented the technology in any production vehicle. The reasons remain a topic of debate. While some argue the carburetor never worked as well as claimed, many believe that it was deliberately suppressed by powerful interests intent on maintaining the status quo. Number 9. Cavity structural effect. Viktor Grebennikov might sound like a character out of a science fiction novel, yet his story is deeply rooted in the curious world of entomology and the pursuit of what he termed the cavity structural effect, or CSE. Grebennikov, a self-taught Russian entomologist, spent years studying the natural world, particularly insects, which he believed harbored secrets to supernatural abilities such as anti-gravity. During the early 1980s, Grebennikov's life took an unusual turn while he was exploring the vast Siberian steppe. One day, he lay down on the ground for a rest, only to experience headaches, a ringing in his ears, and a peculiar metallic taste in his mouth. Underneath him was not just the hard soil of the steppe, but an underground bee city. This unexpected encounter sparked his fascination with the architectural genius of bee nests and the unique properties of their structure. Driven by curiosity, Grebennikov began experimenting with parts of the bee nest. He noticed an unusual emanation of heat from the honeycomb structures, a sensation that defied detection by conventional scientific instruments. Intrigued by these observations, he developed a hypothesis about a force field generated by the geometric patterns of the honeycombs, suggesting this field could alter the environment in previously unimaginable ways. As Grabenikov's investigations deepened, he examined the chitin shells of insects under a microscope and found them to have an unusually rhythmic, extremely ordered structure, which appeared to exhibit anti-gravitational effects. In one experiment, when he attempted to align two chitin plates, one hovered in mid-air for a few seconds before settling. This observation catalyzed the next phase of his research, leading him to explore the anti-gravitational potential of natural structures. Convinced of the revolutionary implications of his findings, Grabenikov constructed a platform, outfitting its underside with thousands of chitin shells. He claimed this platform functioned as an anti-gravity vehicle, capable of reaching speeds up to 1,500 kilometers per hour and ascending 300 meters above the ground. Furthermore, he asserted that this device rendered its rider invisible from below and surrounded them with a force field that neutralized inertia and dynamic pressure. Despite the astounding nature of his claims, Grabenikov faced significant skepticism and dismissal from the scientific community. His attempts to patent his invention in 1992 were unsuccessful. Undeterred, he decided to detail his discoveries in a book, filled with full-color images and potentially including photographs from a museum demonstration of his invention. However, just before publication, the book was altered significantly. Hundreds of images and all schematic details crucial for understanding his work were removed. This mysterious alteration raises numerous questions about the motives behind the decisions to modify his publication. Was Grabenikov's work seen as too disruptive or dangerous for public dissemination? According to a longtime colleague, Grabenikov might have been part of a so-called scientific underground, which faced not just skepticism, but active opposition from mainstream scientific institutions and perhaps governmental bodies. Number 8. Water fuel cell. Here is another tale exploring the reality of forbidden technologies and the silencing of their inventors. Stanley Meyer, an inventive mind from Ohio, reshaped the conversation around alternative energy in the 1980s with his groundbreaking water fuel cell. This wasn't just any ordinary electrolysis device. Meyer claimed his invention could efficiently split water molecules into hydrogen and oxygen using minimal electrical input and resonant frequencies, a technique unheard of at the time. Meyer showcased his technology in a dune buggy he claimed ran solely on water, using the gases generated by his cell for combustion. Imagine a vehicle cruising down the road, its tank filled with nothing but water, whether it be rain, well, ocean, or even snow melt. This vision not only captured the public's imagination, but also promised an abundant, sustainable, and eco-friendly fuel alternative to oil. The buzz around Meyer's water fuel cell was immense. He was featured in local news segments that portrayed him as turning an age-old dream into reality, using water to power cars. However, the scientific community met Meyer's extraordinary claims with significant skepticism, questioning the validity and reproducibility of his results. Tragically, Meyer's journey ended abruptly and mysteriously. On March 20, 1998, while dining at a restaurant, a distressing scene unfolded. Meyer suddenly ran outside, clutching his throat, and exclaimed, "They poisoned me!" Moments later, he collapsed and died. The official cause of death was reported as a cerebral aneurysm, yet this did not quell the storm of conspiracy theories that followed. Many of Meyer's supporters believed he was targeted because his invention posed a monumental threat to the global oil industry. Following his death, interest in Meyer's water fuel cell continued to surge, with various enthusiasts and groups attempting to replicate his technology. Despite their efforts, no one has been able to conclusively demonstrate a working model that replicates the results Meyer claimed, fueling further speculation and mystery around the feasibility of his invention. Number 7. The radiant energy device. In the 1930s, amidst a backdrop of burgeoning modern physics and unprecedented scientific inquiry, T. Henry Moray emerged with a proposition that seemed ripped from the pages of a futuristic novel. He introduced the world to his radiant energy device, a groundbreaking invention that he claimed could tap into the boundless forces of the cosmos. According to Moray, this device was capable of harnessing an unseen, inexhaustible source of power that could potentially transform the energy landscape forever. Moray, an electrical engineer and physicist hailing from Salt Lake City, Utah, drew heavily on the pioneering theories of Nikola Tesla and other luminary scientists who had ventured into the realms of electromagnetism and radioactivity. From these intellectual explorations, Morey distilled a vision. The space around us, he theorized, brims with a type of energy that, if harnessed, could offer an endless supply of power. This device, which aimed to convert this cosmic energy into usable electrical power, had been in development since the early 1920s. The core of his invention featured a special valve, a semiconductive material designed to absorb radiant energy from the surroundings and transform it into high-voltage electricity. Morey's approach didn't claim to overthrow the laws of thermodynamics. Rather, it was a process of conversion, transforming existing energy from one form to another. Morey's demonstrations of his device were nothing short of spectacular. In various exhibitions, he successfully powered lights, radios, and motors before an audience of witnesses, all without any visible connection to a conventional power source. Yet despite these impressive displays, the scientific community greeted Morey's claims with deep skepticism. Critics pointed out that the device's operations and the underlying theory were not sufficiently explained or documented to allow for independent verification or replication. This skepticism was compounded by Morey's hesitance to fully disclose the details of his invention. He cited concerns over intellectual property theft and the potential misuse of his technology as reasons for his secrecy. Additionally, Morey's ideas didn't align neatly with established physics, which only fueled further doubt among his peers. As if the scientific pushback wasn't enough, Morey also narrated tales of sabotage and persecution. He claimed that his revolutionary work had caught the attention of powerful entities within the existing energy sector, entities that perceived his invention as a direct threat to their dominance. According to Morey, these forces went to great lengths to stifle his progress, including threats to his personal safety, break-ins at his laboratory, and deliberate damage to his equipment. Despite these challenges, Morey remained resolute, continually refining his device and championing its potential benefits. Nevertheless, without the necessary support to advance his work, his invention gradually receded from the spotlight, overshadowed by the very skepticism and hostility that plagued it from the start. After Morey's death, his radiant energy device slipped into the shadows, largely forgotten, except by a few who remembered it as a peculiar yet fascinating chapter in the history of alternative energy research. Number 6. Energy Machine. In the vibrant tapestry of alternative energy stories, few threads are as captivating and tangled as the saga of Joseph Newman and his energy machine. This device, claimed by Newman to produce more energy than it consumed, marked a controversial chapter in the quest for over-unity devices, machines that could, supposedly, defy traditional laws of physics by generating more power than they take in. Joseph Newman, an inventor with a colorful career that began in Mobile, Alabama, introduced his groundbreaking invention in 1979. He claimed his machine harnessed a principle akin to Einstein's E=mc², suggesting that all matter contains locked-in energy, accessible through his technology. This bold assertion drew both intrigue and skepticism, leading Newman into a prolonged battle with the U.S. Patent Office, which refused to patent the device, dismissing it as a perpetual motion machine. Despite this setback, Newman garnered the support of over 30 scientists, including notable figures from NASA and those who had worked on pivotal projects like the Saturn V rocket. Their affidavits, intended to sway the patent authorities, highlighted potential implications of Newman's invention that could dramatically uplift the future of the human race by revolutionizing energy production. As legal battles ensued, Newman's claims were put to the test by the National Bureau of Standards, which concluded that the device failed to demonstrate the claimed over-unity effects. Newman, undeterred, disputed these findings, alleging misconduct and inaccuracies in the testing methodology. The scientific establishment, however, remained largely unconvinced, and Newman's patent aspirations were repeatedly thwarted. Newman's story took a personal and public turn when he decided to run for President of the United States in 1987, citing divine instruction to prevent the extinction of humanity. After Newman's passing in 2015, his legacy endured through the efforts of devoted followers and engineers. At the 2017 Energy Science and Technology Conference, significant attention was devoted to his work, including a detailed presentation on the Newman motor by Geoffrey Miller. a longtime collaborator and free energy enthusiast. Miller's demonstration aimed to vindicate Newman's claims and inspire a new generation to explore the boundaries of energy technology. Before we move on, here's today's subscriber's pick. In this image, we delve into a hidden chapter of forbidden technologies and the silencing of their inventors. Here, we see a trio of such forbidden advancements. One end, we witness an inventor proudly displaying a device that he has engineered to levitate, a feat that could upend our understanding of physics. Yet, such innovations often vanish, kept from public reach under the guise of safety or scoffed at by mainstream science. On another end, a hovering vehicle defies gravity, hinting at suppressed anti-gravity or aerospace technologies that could have revolutionized transport. Finally, we can see a large, intricate machine, reminiscent of Nikola Tesla's experiments, suggests advancements in harnessing and distributing energy, innovations that might have threatened existing power structures. These images represent the relentless pursuit of knowledge and the barriers erected by forces, economic interests, and regulatory bodies. Each device tells a story of potential and restraint, innovations that could have reshaped our world had they not been pushed into the shadows. What do you think these inventors might have achieved if their technologies had been allowed to flourish? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Number 5. The original electric car. In the late 1990s, General Motors introduced the EV1, marking the debut of the world's first mass-produced electric car. This vehicle emerged during a time when society was becoming increasingly aware of air pollution, oil dependency, and the broader environmental impacts of traditional gasoline-powered vehicles. Released in a limited batch of 800 units available for lease, the EV1 quickly garnered a dedicated following. Its drivers lauded the car for its efficiency and saw it as a herald of a cleaner, more sustainable automotive future. Despite the growing enthusiasm for the EV1, General Motors abruptly discontinued it in 1999, just a few years after its launch. The company cited economic reasons for its decision. The car's batteries had a limited range, which made it difficult to meet consumer expectations for convenience and long-distance travel, leading them to label the vehicle as unprofitable. However, this official rationale did not sit well with many. Observers, skeptics, and passionate supporters of the electric vehicle movement speculated that there was more to the story. Many believed that the oil industry, feeling threatened by the rise of electric vehicles that could disrupt their business, exerted pressure to suppress this emerging technology. The response from General Motors was severe and unprecedented. The company didn't just stop making the EV1, they decided to erase any trace of its existence. In a controversial move, GM launched a campaign to retrieve and destroy every last EV1. This wasn't just a recall, it was a deliberate effort to prevent these vehicles from becoming symbols of a technological revolution. Instead of allowing them to remain with their users or preserving them as historical artifacts, GM crushed them, effectively wiping out a significant chapter in automotive history. This extreme measure has been widely interpreted as an attempt to stifle the advancement of electric vehicle technology and protect the traditional automotive market dominated by internal combustion engines. The saga of the EV1's rise and fall has been captured in various documentaries and discussions, most notably in the 2006 film, Who Killed the Electric Car? This film explores the intricate web of corporate and commercial interests that orchestrated the demise of this pioneering electric vehicle. Number 4. The Hendershot Generator. In the late 1920s, an American inventor named Lester Hendershot made a startling claim. He had developed a device capable of generating free energy. Dubbed the Hendershot Generator, this invention was said to utilize the Earth's magnetic field to produce electricity without any need for conventional fuel sources. This groundbreaking device was described as a self-running generator, employing an intricate array of coils and capacitors to produce energy independently. Hendershot's initial demonstrations were spectacular, reportedly powering light bulbs and motors and igniting the imaginations of the public. The media and potential investors quickly took notice, drawn by the promise of a revolution in how energy could be produced and consumed. However, not everyone was enthralled by the prospect of such a disruptive technology coming to fruition. Amid the burgeoning excitement, a campaign to discredit Hendershot's work emerged. Critics attempted to debunk the efficacy of his generator by publicly showcasing a device they claimed was identical to Hendershot's, but which failed to perform. This act of discreditation was a clear signal to Hendershot's supporters that powerful interests were intent on undermining his invention. Despite facing significant skepticism and opposition, Hendershot continued to refine his generator, convinced of its potential. By the late 1960s, he believed he had achieved a significant breakthrough, enough to catch the interest of the U.S. Navy. With renewed hope, he prepared 2 models and a detailed 56-page proposal. Unfortunately, his advances were rebuffed, and his proposal was ultimately denied. Tragedy struck in April 1961, when Hendershot's son discovered his father dead, an event officially recorded as a suicide. However, the lack of a thorough investigation into his death led many, including his family, to suspect foul play. They theorized that Hendershot's work posed a considerable threat to the financial interests of large energy corporations. Allegedly, Hendershot had even been warned by a major corporation to cease all work on his generator, under threat of dire consequences. He reportedly received $25,000 to halt his research for 2 decades, a deal that underscored the lengths to which these corporations would go to protect their interests. Hendershot had shared his concerns about personal safety with his family, highlighting just how serious the threats against him were. His mysterious death and the stifling of his groundbreaking work continue to stir intense curiosity and debate. Number 3. Tucker Automobile. Step into the whirlwind of innovation and controversy surrounding Preston Tucker and his legendary Tucker 48, a vehicle that could have revolutionized the automotive industry. Born from a dream to break the mold, Tucker's car was more than a mere automobile. It was a bold leap into the future of driving. Preston Tucker, a man whose life was as dynamic as the car he envisioned, launched his automotive venture in the post-World War II era, a time ripe for innovation. The Tucker 48, unveiled in 1946, promised an array of revolutionary features. With its rear engine, disc brakes, and safety enhancements like a pop-out windshield, it was designed not just to perform, but to protect. Its most distinctive feature, the centered third headlight known as the Cyclops Eye, turned with the steering wheel to illuminate the car's path around corners. The unveiling of the Tucker 48 generated immense public excitement and media buzz. However, behind the scenes, Tucker faced immense challenges. His approach to funding was unconventional. He sold dealership rights and took pre-orders on a car yet to be produced, leading to scrutiny from the Securities and Exchange Commission. Despite the innovative design and public interest, Tucker's enterprise was besieged by bad press, financial troubles, and legal battles. Critics argued that his ambitious project was too good to be true, painting him as a dreamer overreaching his grasp. In 1949, his company, Tucker Corporation, ceased operations after producing only 51 cars due to a myriad of financial and legal challenges. The Tucker 48, often hailed as the car you've been waiting for, has become a symbol of what could have been. Number 2. Perpetual Motion. Victor Schauberger was a true pioneer from Austria, born in 1885. His journey through nature and energy makes him stand out as a visionary well ahead of his time. Unlike many, Schauberger became a forester and naturalist not to exploit nature, but to understand and replicate its processes. His deep dives into nature's secrets led him close to the mythical idea of perpetual motion, machines that could run forever without external energy. Schauberger believed that the Earth itself is a powerhouse waiting to be tapped into. He often criticized modern engineering for ignoring nature's subtle yet powerful patterns. His philosophy was clear and revolutionary. Understand nature, then copy nature. He observed that water naturally spirals in rivers and streams, a motion he found vital for maintaining its energy. By replicating this spiral flow, he invented devices that could produce energy in ways completely different from conventional technologies. One of his most fascinating inventions was the repulsine, a saucer-shaped device designed to create energy through a vortex of air or water. This device, with its unique wave-like patterns, sparked wide interest and debates about whether Schauberger had unlocked the secrets to perpetual motion and free energy. However, Schauberger's innovations caught the eye of some rather sinister forces during World War II. He faced pressure from the Nazi regime to adapt his inventions for military use. leaving him disillusioned and worried about the potential misuse of his work. Despite continuing his research after the war, he never achieved the recognition or commercial success he deserved. Things took a darker turn post-war when Schauberger was detained by U.S. intelligence agents for 9 months. During this time, all his research and prototypes were seized, and he was interrogated about his inventions and activities during the war. This led to widespread speculation that his work, capable of harnessing natural energy in revolutionary ways, was seen as a significant threat by scientific, economic, and political powers. This speculation is fueled by how his inventions were treated. More than mere scientific curiosities, they were potentially game-changing technologies that were likely suppressed by the US government. It's believed that Schauberger's ideas, which promised a new era of clean and free energy, were viewed as too disruptive to the existing order. Efforts were made to bury his discoveries and silence any discussion about them, highlighting a fascinating yet troubling chapter in the history of innovation. Number 1. N-Machine. Bruce De Palma, an unsung pioneer within the fringe realm of unconventional energy inventions, embarked on a revolutionary path that challenged the very fabric of accepted scientific norms. In the late 1970s, De Palma, a former MIT researcher, introduced the world to his creation known as the N-Machine, a device that purportedly generated more energy than it consumed, tapping directly into the environmental energy around us. The genesis of De Palma's invention was rooted in a concept that might sound straight out of science fiction, that the space around us is not empty, but filled with untapped energy. His N-Machine was designed as a unique kind of generator, fundamentally different from traditional models. Instead of using separate components like a rotor and a stator, the N-Machine utilized a single rotating magnetized flywheel, simplifying the energy conversion process. De Palma believed that by magnetizing a gyroscope and rotating it, an electrical potential could be created between the axle and the rim, effectively harvesting electrical energy directly from the magnet's field. This bold innovation drew from the ideas of Michael Faraday and other pioneering scientists, but pushed far beyond into new theoretical territories. De Palma suggested that conventional physics, including the laws of thermodynamics and conservation of energy, might not account for all natural phenomena, especially at the quantum and cosmic scales. His theory proposed that a molecular antenna could extract energy from the background of space, a concept that mirrored some interpretations of quantum physics regarding the energy density of the vacuum. Critics were quick to label the N-Machine a perpetual motion device, a term laden with skepticism and scientific taboo. The mainstream scientific community, bound by classical laws of physics, largely dismissed De Palma's claims as impossible. However, De Palma's work was not without empirical efforts. Throughout the 1980s, he conducted various demonstrations and tests to prove the efficacy of his machine. Reports were mixed, with some independent observers noting anomalies in energy output that couldn't be easily dismissed. The controversy around the N-Machine peaked when rigorous testing by established institutions like the National Bureau of Standards concluded that the device did not produce energy at the levels claimed by De Palma. These findings did little to quell the interest of a growing body of supporters who believed that De Palma might have been onto something fundamentally transformative, potentially capable of redefining our understanding of energy production. De Palma's theories extended into broader philosophical and scientific implications, suggesting that if his principles were correct, they could lead to a new understanding of energy itself, not as a scarce commodity, but as an abundant, accessible resource that could revolutionize technological development and energy politics on a global scale. Despite the skepticism and the challenges, De Palma's N-Machine remains a subject of fascination and hope among a niche group of scientists and lay enthusiasts. They continue to explore and debate his theories, driven by the possibility that his insights might one day lead to a breakthrough in how we understand and harness the energy that permeates the universe. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.